and the Todd Family YouTube video. Wherever you are, whatever you may be doing, thank you so much for making Ref Brandon and the Todd Family part of your day. We always greatly appreciate it if you jump on here live on this Wednesday evening all across America. Feel free to leave a comment in the comment section. Down below, make sure you give the video a like, a thumbs up. If you have not yet subscribed, please do so and share the video on all social media platforms. It's Wednesday, so of course that means it's time for another weekly top 10 countdown. And this top 10 countdown, good evening, Kevron. Glad to have you here. Hello, Marcus. Anybody else that jumps on here, feel free to leave a comment like Kevron did and like Marcus did as well. But this week's top 10 countdown may not take a while, and it may take a while, depending on how many people jump on here and give some live feedback about the countdown while I'm doing it. If people comment about it, it may take a while. If not, it won't take long. But it's about college football. I figure since it's almost April and most teams now are preparing for their spring game, all the teams, with the exception of the teams that canceled their spring game, and I have a feeling you're going to start seeing more and more teams canceling their spring games, unfortunately. But this is a top 10 list of the top 10 highest paid coaches in America. Now, you probably know who the top three are. You may not know the exact order, but the top three is pretty obvious. It's the only three coaches on this list who have won a national championship, so of course they're going to be the top three highest paid coaches. But the rest of the list, you probably know all of them. Maybe not, but you probably do, but you may not know exactly where they are. But it's actually a list of 13 head coaches because number 10 is a four-way tie. So without further ado, here we go. The top 10 list of the top 10 highest paid college football coaches in America as we prepare for the 2025 college football season. Number 10, we have Marcus Freeman, Eli Drinkwitz, Mark Stoops, and Lane Kiffin. Hey there, Austin. Glad to have you here. And all four of those coaches make $9 million. Number 9, we have Brian Kelly, who makes $9.9 million. I'm going to try to watch it, Austin. I've got to do this video. I've got to make some phone calls. I've got things to do. I'll try to watch it. If not, I'll just have to read the results. Number 8, Bill Belichick. Never coached a game in college football, and already he makes $10 million. Number 7, Lincoln Riley, $10.1 million. And number 6, Kalen DeBoer, who makes $10.25 million. Again, 10 through 6. Number 10, a four-way tie, Marcus Freeman, Eli Drinkwitz, Mark Stoops, and Lane Kiffin. Brian Kelly, Bill Belichick, Lincoln Riley, and Kalen DeBoer round out numbers 10 through 6. Cracking the top 5, just under $11 million, $10.8 million, Steve Sarkisian. Number 4, Dan Lanning, $11 million. Number 3, Dabo Swinney, $11.5 million. Number 2, Ryan Day, $12.5 million. And number 1 is the coach that just constantly lets his kids drive through town at 300 miles an hour and does nothing to them, making $13.2 million. It's Kirby Smart. Now, looking over that list and reading those names just makes me think, when is enough going to be enough? Hey there, Talon. Glad to have you here. And Talon, I believe this is the first time I've seen your name in the comments section. If it is, thank you so much for being here on this Wednesday night. Talon, hopefully you give the video a like, a thumbs up, And if you have not yet subscribed, please do so. But my question is, when is enough going to be enough? Remember a few years back, when coaches hit $5 million, everybody said they're getting overpaid. And now you've got guys making double that, and in Kirby's case, almost triple that. Now, with Kirby Smart, Ryan Day, and Dabo Swinney, at least those guys can say, they've won a national championship. But Bill Belichick has never coached a game in college football, and the man's going to make $10 million. Now, he may end up being a great coach. He may be the worst coach of all time, and you're giving the man $10 million when he hasn't done anything. And then you have Mark Stoops, who has a career record of basically 500. He basically just about goes 6-6 or 7-5 every year, making $9 million. Now, let's just by some chance say Lane Kiffin wins a national championship. Now, it's not going to happen, but let's say it does. If he makes $9 million now, if he was to win a national championship, he's got to get a raise to go to $15 or $16 million. No, Austin, this is another one of my Clemson shirts. I've got tons and tons and tons of Clemson shirts. They're all orange, so unless you look at them closely and read them, you think it's the same shirt, but it's not. They're just all Clemson shirts. I don't own any Cleveland Browns merchandise and probably never will. But Lane Kiffin, if he was to win a national title, he's got to make $15 or $16 million because he's making $9 million to win about 9 games a year. If all of a sudden he gets a raise to go to $15 or $16 million, well then Dabo, Ryan Day, and Kirby Smart are going to say, wait a minute. If he makes that and we win more than him, we should get more than him. Then they're going to be making $20 million a year. And it's ridiculous because these coaches like Mark Stoops, he basically gets incentives and gets a raise every year to go 7-5. So you're paying this guy millions and millions of dollars to go 6-6 or 7-5 annually. What's the point? Going 6-6 or 7-5 doesn't warrant $9 million because the whole point of these coaches getting raised is supposed to be because you're afraid they're going to leave. So you give them a raise to keep them there. If Mark Stoops has been at Kentucky all this time and nobody wants him, nobody wants him. So you don't have to give the man a raise to keep him there because he's not leaving. Nobody else wants him. If somebody wanted him, he'd be gone by now because there's many programs that could pay the man way more than Kentucky can. Hey there, Zacho. Glad to have you here. And Zacho, I believe it's the first time I've seen your name in the comment section. If it is, thank you so much for being here. Please give the video a like, a thumbs up. If you have not subscribed, please do so. And Talon says, thank you for shouting out my name, and that made me happy because I had a pet bearded dragon that died. So thank you for shouting out my name. No problem, Talon. I have no problem doing that. I try to do that with everybody, whether they ask me to or not. That way you know I acknowledge your comment, and I am appreciating you for watching. So Talon, I have no problem doing that. But I just want to know, when is enough enough? Like Lincoln Riley, for example. Lincoln Riley makes $10.1 million, and he hasn't done absolutely nothing. And Zacho, I'm not talking about a certain team. I'm talking about the coaches on the top 10 list I just went through for the top 10 highest paid college football coaches in America heading into the 2025 season. And it was actually 13 names because there's a 4-way tie at number 10. So it was actually 13 names. Now I'm just talking about when is enough going to be enough. Because you look at Kalen DeBoer. Kalen DeBoer coached 1 year at Alabama, and they were not that impressive. And he makes $10.25 million. What's he going to make if they ever win a national championship? And the problem is, the top of the list, you ain't got to worry about. We know that Dabo and Ryan Day and Kirby are going to keep winning. We know that. So what they make doesn't matter. They're going to keep winning. They're out of the question. But the rest of these coaches, like, let's by some chance say, actually, Tyler, I have not played a video game in about 25 years. So I can't say I like them or dislike them because I just don't play them. I don't have enough free time to worry about video games. I'd love to, but if I sat down to play them, I'm not just going to play for 30 minutes. It's going to be hours upon hours, and I might get 1 free hour a day at the most. So I just don't play them. Let's say Bill Belichick goes to North Carolina and he ends up being an absolute complete failure. And let's say in year one he goes 4-8, and year two he goes 3-9, and they decide to fire him. Then you're going to have North Carolina and their fan base saying, "What are we going to do? We just had to fire Bill Belichick, and he's making $10 million. We got to pay that buyout. What are we going to do?" Well, it's your own fault. You shouldn't pay the guy $10 million. He's done nothing. These coaches should do something to warrant making this money before they keep getting raises. I'm sorry, but Eli Drinkwitz shouldn't have one good season at Missouri and make $9 million. Shouldn't just happen. And Mark Stoops shouldn't get $9 million a year to go 6-6 at Kentucky. And Lincoln Riley shouldn't make $10.1 million a year to barely go 500 at USC. These coaches need to actually win something. I know they have incentives in their contracts. I get that. But your incentive shouldn't be, well, man, if you go 8-4, you're going to make $5 million. 8-4 is not that good. Or, hey, man, if you go to a bowl game, you're going to make $5 million. Everybody is halfway decent goes to a bowl game. Your incentive should at least be you've got to have a double-digit win season, or you've got to win your conference. If you don't win your conference or win double-digit games, I'm sorry, you don't need a raise. It's absolutely ridiculous because now we're seeing these teams and these programs having to charge the fans more and more money to come to games. Why? Because somebody has to pay these players and somebody has to pay these coaches. These coaches can't make $9 million a year if you're a fan going to a game paying $40. You're going to have to pay at the yin yang. Now, I get it. When a team starts winning, they're going to upgrade facilities, and therefore your ticket price goes up. I understand that. But your ticket price shouldn't double because your coach is making $5 million to go 7-5. That just shouldn't happen. So when is enough? Going to be enough in talent? I've got, just very quickly, I'll try to explain what I was talking about. Not only do I work a full-time job, but I've got a beautiful wife, 3 kids, and I work in radio part-time doing high school football and basketball here in the area. I'm the men's leader at our church. I'm a professional wrestling referee. I try to post these YouTube videos every single day. And when I get home from work, my twin boys are wide open. And by the time they lay down and go to sleep, and I get in the shower and do one of these videos and eat supper, it's like 10 or 10:30. Matter of fact, tonight it's after 9 o'clock here on the East Coast, and I've still not ate supper. Still ain't had my shower. So by the time I do that, it's going to be 10 o'clock or so. By the time I do all that and talk to my wife for a while, it's 11 or 11:30. Well, then by that time, I'm ready to go to bed because 5:30 comes early. So it's not that I don't want to play video games. It's just that to me, spending all that money on controllers and games and a system to play maybe an hour at the most a month, it's just not worth it. Because I'm not going to turn on a football game and play one quarter and pause the game. It would take me 20 years to play one season. So one day when my kids grow up, hopefully they never will, but let's just say that my kids do what most kids do when they grow up and they move out of the house, then maybe one day in the future I'll play them. But right now, I just don't have enough free time. So I just don't worry about it because I have to go through the whole process and all the trouble of buying the games, buying the system, buying the controllers, and then that's a lot of money to play once a week. So I just don't worry about it. But Tylen, if you do play video games, good luck to you. Hope you have fun with it. But I had the very first PlayStation when I was 12. My mother and stepdad bought it for me for Christmas the year that I was 12. Hey there, Clip. Glad to have you here. And I played it for a while, but I've always had a huge problem with sitting still. I just can't sit still very long. So I tried to play it during my middle school and high school years, but I would sit down for 10 minutes and I had to get up. I just can't sit still long. So I'd sit down, play it, pause it, and get up. Sit down and play it, pause it, and get up because I just can't sit still long. So I think when I was 18, I believe, I had the whole system and I sold all the games, the system, and my controllers to my cousin, who I think at the time was like 7 and she wanted it. And I was like, here, get out of my hair, you can have it. And I think I was 18 and I ain't played one since then. That was 20 plus years ago. But me and sitting down just don't happen. And that's why I'm not very good at watching movies. I watch about one movie per year because my attention span's about this long. And if I turn one on and it don't grab my attention the first 10 minutes, I'm done. So me and movies don't get along very well. There's multiple movies that people tell me to watch, and I'm just scared to get into it because I know if it don't grab my attention the first 10 minutes, I'm done. And once I check out, there ain't no coming back. But good luck to you, Tylen, on playing your video games, and good to know that you have hours to play them because unless I wanted to stay up all night long and not sleep, I do not. Any thoughts on this top 10 countdown? Please feel free to let me know. Let's go ahead and get our dad joke of the day in here. Coroners and funeral home directors both have dead-end careers. And that does it for today's Ref Brandon and the Todd Family YouTube video. Until next time, it's Ref Brandon saying, just like in pro wrestling, life can be over by the count of 3. Tell your friends and family how much you love them. Bye.